Baratlis grew up a second-generation Greek-American family in Northern California. Her latest collection, Dust Bowl Venus, was published in May 2021. She is also the author of Alkali Sink, published by 16 Rivers Press in 2015. Her work has appeared in numerous journals, including Harbor Review, Penumbra, Song of the San Joaquin, In Posse Review, and the California Quarterly, and in several anthologies. Stella is co-editor of More Than Soil, More Than Sky, The Modesto Poets by Quercus Review Press, 2011, and served as Poet Laureate of Modesto from 2016 to 2020. She lives in Modesto, where she works as a librarian. Please welcome Stella Baratlis.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Sandy, and for having me here. It's such a great turnout. It's wonderful on a Monday night. So this must be your normal, wonderful crowd. I'm getting the idea that it's always, well attended, especially judging by that amazing open mic lineup. Well, yeah, I'm going to read some work from Dust Bowl Venus. And here's what, I don't know if I can show you the cover. It's always so awkward to do this on Zoom. And there's a lot of work in here that is informed by my complete obsession with this local songwriter who was active and working in the 50s. And she wrote songs for country musicians, and her name was Hazel Hauser. She is very unknown, and even in our area, but she was the author of some hit songs. My Baby's Gone, which is a bluegrass standard. She wrote that song. And Stay a Little Longer, Please Jesus, is another song that was a hit. That was written by a woman from Modesto. So, part of my project with Dust Bowl Venus is to kind of resurrect this woman and to offer some imagined settings and life experiences that she may have had, and just to bring her alive. So the book is structured with lyrics from her songs to separate the different parts of the book. The first poem, the title is What Grows Here. You remember the names. You might say we get emotional when, along 99 South, we see trucks and trailers pulling those bales suitable for consumption, precise rectangles fresh with swagger and sway, precarious promise of bit and endless chew, that livestock fodder. Then trailer of tomatoes, in and out for pre-processing baths, while factory gates remain open all August long. Inside, the head mechanic is a poet, tunes words and engines, writes lines on the line. His kind is an heirloom, a boxcar Willie or a purple Cherokee that ripens too late for the cannery, but is perfect for the yard. And oh, we toil for it outside, our giant ox hearts in cages. Myrtle of the tomatoes. We see you in the garden, no Massey Ferguson, no almond dust. You grow enough for all, you sing to no choir. Oh, Myrtle, you transform even the back alley into rows and furrows, furrows and rows. Holy basil. At the intersection of Texas and Crow's Landing he stands, rosemary in pocket, the man who grows the basil. All of his life packed, the work of it, the sore knees, the sweat, into orderly cylinders of regret, fresh with summer's bursting heart. He muses on the city's blurred stars, the songwriter who, the baby who, the Marine who, the baker who carried a fresh sourdough right to your door, the geometry of her face doubled by her straight hair. All of those sacred, incomparable ones, those who live, die, and live again, they are here. They are making mud out of dry soil. So yeah, there's a lot of Modesto. There's a lot of Central Valley in this book, as well as my first book, Alkali Sink. So it's very rooted in this place where I grew up, and I never thought that I would return to live as an adult. So it's kind of neat that that the valley figures so largely, and it's surprising for me too. All right, so the next poem is titled Ora Mill's Dream. And this is a poem that is inspired by the origin story of Modesto. And it involves the McHenry family. And recently there was some research done, and it revealed that one of the McHenry brothers was actually a Civil War deserter who changed his name. And so McHenry was the name that he made up for himself. And I was fascinated by that. At the same time that I was writing this poem, Modesto decided to deal with a terrible crisis of unhoused families by creating a city of tents under a bridge, which was just, it was just an appalling situation, and the solution also seemed appalling to me. So that's referenced in this poem, Ora Mill's Dream. I am a founding father of this city, which rediscovers itself every day as new arrivals check in at the station, and children take rations to their tents, then play under the bridge, watchful, waiting for the missionaries to arrive with clothes and salvation, waiting for their inheritance of sidewalk, of median strip. I am a war deserter, reviewing your appeal for a doorway, rain gutter, endowment of bedroom window, a brick fireplace bequest, who changed my name and never looked back, who watches still my children huddled, carbon smudge eyes hardening to knives. Even now I withhold what always belonged to you. This next poem is titled Ode on a Bic Turntable. So Bic, B-I-C, is a brand of turntable makers, and I guess just other kinds of components, but they were big in the 60s, 50s and 60s and 70s. And as a music obsessed human being from the time I was a teenager all the way to now, you ought to look at my vinyl collection. I feel like I have to always honor the music and the people that helped make that happen. Ode on a Bic Turntable. The sun, just a teenager then, filtered magic through vertical blinds, shone its enchantment. In the golden hour, I am making out in my bedroom with our local teen misfit, my first of many. Innocence, innocence in the golden hour. But it's not the stubble of chin and the pinch of braces I most recall. The records on the turntable have my full attention. Black Market Clash, B.B. King, Freddie King. Oh, Brent, ruler of my young poetry heart, and my sisters too. To the boy who walked through streets of my city with his guitar slung over his shoulder, on the streets of my city, alive in the nowhere space, bridging childhood home and that tiny trashed cottage in the alley, the surf kitchen, whence you helped me procure weed in the darkness of Grisada Park where I walked with impractical heels, dyed black hair teased high. Dyed black hair teased high. To Bob Marley's Exodus and Neil Young and my own imminent departure from this medium-sized city. Soon, but not soon enough. I am teetering. My stylus is always sharp. And then the last one, the last Modesto poem that I'm going to read tonight from Dust Bowl Venus is titled Water, Wealth, Contentment, Health. And that is the slogan that's on the arch that is downtown in Modesto. So so it's in 4 parts. The first part is H2O. In this city of drought or atmospheric river, you lean against me, slightly behind my body, hand in pocket. I superimpose a smaller form against your height. Meanwhile, shadow selves behind the smiles arrange this other shape, this fractal of us, a sentient creature threatening its own weather, a willy-nilly water cycle, inevitable torrent. If my credit score were higher, we'd be married, Modesto. You were my first choice, the most valuable asset in a field of questionable possibilities. And then the second section is an infinity sign. For a 2-month period, she felt calm inside the snow globe fog world when the clock struck onion-scented midnight. And the next section is health. Epigenetics has transformed the way we think about genomes. Oh, really, Modesto? The prefix epi, over, outside of, around, suggests factors layered atop the map. Beloved city, what a wonder. In what tender ways do your fingers press into our very genes to make a point about chaos? Each twinkle gland comprises a point on your elevated arch, builds an altar to Our Lady of Activated Cells. Your downtown, a sensitive gut brain, signaling neurotransmitters to destinations unknown, keeping us out of range, barely within love's reach, while we walk beside monsters and stopped trains. Still, we endeavor incandescent. Okay, so that is Dust Bowl Venus. So thank you for the nice visuals. It's wonderful. I'm going to read a few poems from my first collection, Alkali Sink. I'm going to smother you with Central Valleyness. This is the opening poem from that book, Coda Farms, South Dos Palos. And it's inspired by the Coda family, and they are rice growers down in South Dos Palos, and they grow an heirloom kind of rice that is pretty well known, and you can't just buy it in stores, or it's in fancy stores and farmers markets. Coda Farms, South Dos Palos. Rice loves the pixelated hills, the valley oak in the center of every orchard, silos quivering in the distance, cubic tons of highway grit and thermal inversion, merging to a point near Dos Palos, that whirl of wanting, one valley south, where inflorescence dangles heavily in the paddies like a pendulous goodbye. I've missed you like breath, like kernels of truth. Let's meet in the fields and grasp at heads of rice turning ochre in the husks, while our central nervous systems vibrate and hum like idling harvesters waiting for the fields to drain. So yeah, that's my sexy tractor poem. That's my goal in life. Erotic agriculture poems. And then the other poem that I will read from this collection, Alkali Sink, is titled Patterson Pass. And this poem was chosen along with a lot of other poets' work and writers' work to be in the new San Francisco Transbay Terminal Jenny Holzer exhibit or installation. And I went there once to try to see it, but there was so much other work there rotating around in the giant LED letters that I never got to see my poem there. Patterson Pass. This is the place that inhabits us, the place where inversion, layering down, spills water into trough and tap of valley. Altamont of my rib, aqueduct of your chest, anchor of homes, totem of tract and sky, tied up in blue's drawstring bag. Below me you, and sky above, all that dihedral flight distilled down to seep spring monkey flower. This landscape has settled into a familiar refrain. Kestrel, kite, shrike, red tail, folding into the blade, sometimes a crow, sometimes a man saying, hey, an exhalation. Here, uncertainty does not seem complex. Loaded as it is onto crackling pallets and driven off to substations of the West, wind, and how we don't understand the farming of it, how the mills hum, moan, susurrate hoarsely, how the skin cartwheels into windmills, electromagnetic field, or the houndstooth scoring of riparian beds, or the sleek catwalk of girder. We can't see the tomorrowland of here, only a cow's 4 feet plugged into the hills. So that was Patterson Pass. And I'm always haunted by the fact that I use the word feet as a, to label a body part of a cow. I'm pretty sure that there's a more, ag word to use. And I should have researched that. Damn it, because I'm a librarian, but there it is. I think that I am just at about 15 minutes. So I will just wrap it up by reading one more poem. I have some new work and I would like to read it for you. And it is one long-ish, not that long. It's one page, but it's single spaced. This poem, After Watching Carnival of Souls, is the title. A masterpiece, he said, his favorite horror film. And all night I wondered, and this morning I still wondered about Candace Hilligoss, her hollow eyes, seeing what they saw, what anyone's eyes ever see. Did she want the shadow people rising from the polluted salt lake? Those black-rimmed eyes menacing in their flatness, that ridiculous white pancake hastiness, that decay, did they call to her? Because I too am becoming an automaton, a frenzied dancer, a figure on a jewelry box mechanism sprung, unable to stop the inevitable movement to the carnival ballroom where I dance against my will. And I need to know what metaphors apply to my own staggering through hallways, elevators, stairwells, and doorways, my pretend equilibrium as I stumble, tunnel visioned, in plaster-walled rooming houses inside a masterpiece of a film, the Criterion edition, all the scenes intact. Herky Harvey would be pleased with my studiousness here, the version of life where we all flicker in and out of existence, hallucinate and fail to be seen, ceasing to exist in a wormhole of the universe, where I drive off the Shakespeare Bridge and land underwater, the moment drawn out until I am found. Then you open the door with the key I made you, the unnamed man. Push away the furniture and stand in the doorway as the water rushes out. You walk in and discover me there, finally, and I am gone. Thank you very much.